that we saw here, what's it called, at the Pro Tour, excuse me, at Mahara's deck. And it hasn't really caught on past that, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's definitely a deck where you see a lot of Planeswalkers that you could play. You have a lot of sweet cards you can play in the green-red deck. You can either play, big beatdown creatures. You can play two. I see a lot of them that have. Yeah, I see a lot of two Xenagos and then like maybe two Domri. You see a few Planeswalkers splash in and out. But the big thing about this deck is just getting a lot of red. Or Green Devotion, excuse me, and then playing their god, because their god is real good.
Yeah.
It gets trampled, all your little dorks there, all your monsters, you can get them real big as well. You can also get it as a 6/6, a little larger than some of the other gods as well. So, pretty sweet card.
Yeah, no, the God of the Hunt is one of the better cards in this deck. I only play 2 copies of it, but you can find it pretty easily with Garruk once you get all of your engine online. And this deck, if it does draw Nykthos, it can get out of control pretty quickly. So we'll see if Wells is able to find a Nykthos and really get the show started here. His turn 2 was pretty good, obviously. Burning Tree Emissary into Sylvan Caryatid, facing down a Pack Rat. So a good start so far.
Yeah, and definitely, like you mentioned, Nykthos, it's definitely much better in the red-green deck. You have a lot more stuff you can do with it. I think in the blue deck it's okay, but in this deck you can just drop your whole hand and make it just a big problem for your opponent. You can do it pretty early also. You also allow them play the, what's the 2-mana guy that untaps the land?
Voyaging Satyr.
Voyaging Satyr as well, who allows you just to produce a godly amount of mana pretty early on. So, all right, so we see a lot of devotion already, don't we?
Yeah, we see an Emissary coming to play, and now he's Xenagos as well. So Xenagos the Reveler going to come in. It looks like it's going to make a 2/2 Satyr token.
Yeah. And even though it looks pretty aggressive right here, this is the mid-range deck. I mean, you have Xenagos, and you have, let's see the creature package here. Yep, 4 Pelucranos, obviously very mid-rangey. Scavenging Ooze, even though it's a 2-drop, it's still a mid-range card because it's not exactly the best 2-mana 2/2 right on the play there. And then you have Arbor Colossus. The humongous, what is it, 5-mana 6/6, right? Huge. So this is the mid-range deck we're talking about, and this is the kind of the knee-jerk reaction. A lot of aggro decks. Let's play this mid-range deck and beat up on him.
Yeah, but now he's facing a control deck right now in Mono Black Devotion, so we'll see if he can actually get through. It's not a pure control deck like Esper Blue White Red. It's kind of in between.
Yeah.
In between mid-range and control, right in that little area.
Yeah.
And see if he could. He's certainly doing pretty well against a Pack Rat here, just overwhelming the board, being able to consistently make 2/2s that have haste because of Xenagos. And Roundtree, yes, he does have an Underworld connection. Yes, he does have a Pack Rat, but not a lot going on his end. It looks like he's going to start by drawing a card.
And the big problem here is this is what the Black Devotion deck does. It feeds on slow decks. But when you play these fast decks, things that come out of the gates, even the mid-range decks, you don't have time to play an Underworld tap connection on turn 3. And not only does that take away your turn 3, but it also takes you a land away from your turn 4 if you want to activate it. So you're just behind.
And this is even a board situation here where Pack Rat just isn't very good. When Pack Rat actually starts to be a 3/3, that's when it's great.
Yeah.
But in this matchup, you're staring down a bunch of 2/2s. Obviously, Xenagos making 2/2 haste creatures. You need to make those Pack Rats into 3/3s, and then it can actually stand tall.
And I think the reason why Collin drew a card is he didn't have a 4th land, because otherwise if he had a 4th land, it would have been a much better play to pass and have 3/3 rats. But, let's see, Xenagos is going to add mana here. Don't see this very often. He's I'm going to add...
not be good.
I'm going to add a ton of mana. Here's Pelucranos. And mana floating. It looks like what you got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He had 1 mana floating?
So he adds a number of creatures. So just...
Oh, 4.
Yeah, so 4 total for that. And so what Pelucranos can do now is Monstrosity for 2 at will.
Okay.
And so Pack Rat... Looks like he's going to make a Pack Rat here. Maybe he doesn't remove a spell. Okay, so he's got Ultimate Price, but that can actually take care of the Pack Rat.
Yeah.
Can Pelucranos.
Yeah, and he's going to do that. I don't think he has another play in his hand. So he's going to fight in response.
Yep. 5 mana, kill that. And he does have to do it. He does have to do it for 2 and not 1 because Roundtree could just activate Mutavault to make it a 2/2.
Yeah.
So good play there from Wells.
And I've seen a lot of people with Mutavault too. A lot of them leave it open to remind themselves, but it's a lot trickier if you leave just the swamp open. Because then, again, people don't really see it happening. Kind of like tap it to the side there. Look, I'm out of mana. Oh, tap this swamp. Get you.
Grey Merchant going to come down. Gain 4, drain 4 for Roundtree. So this is an important card here, obviously, because it has 4 toughness. It can actually, battle these guys and actually leave them alive. And if Roundtree is able to actually chain together Grey Merchants, because he does have another one in his hand, he can actually come back in this game.
Yeah, the drain ability on that card makes it probably the best devotion card in the format. Obviously, it's debatable and subjective, but when you have an ability to have reach like that, where you're not burning for 2 or 3, you're draining for 6 or 8 or 10 damage at a time. It's just pretty good.
Now, the scary thing here for Roundtree is that he's hoping to dodge a Garrett Collar the Beast, because that's the card that breaks this game wide open and changes the way that the Mono Black Devotion player actually has to play the game. So, Xenagos, we'll see exactly how it was used, if it was for token or for mana.
I think he used it for mana just now.
I think he did as well, and now there's a Voyaging
Oh,
Satyr.
no, never mind, he did not yet. But he says,
so it looks like he just used it for mana and just passed the turn. That's a little bit surprising.
I think the dice at 4. Maybe I think he must have forgot to use it. Yeah, he forgot to use it.
Okay. Well, either way, no attacks here, so one single Grey Merchant holding down the fort. A little surprise there, where he could have just made a Satyr and then just attacked and forced through 6 points of damage.
Yeah. Because now, saying go, that's what Collin's the one who has Underworld Connections online and a fistful of cards here. If your opponent's saying go, you're easily going to claw back into this game.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to have happen. It's just passing the turn back.
Yeah, now Roundtree doesn't even have to play another Grey Merchant. He can just play more Devotion and then set up an even bigger drain the next turn. So I think if he has the ability to play 2 black cards in his hand to add to the board presence, that's what he should do. I see a Desecration Demon. I see another Underworld Connection. So I think we're going to draw a card here first. Oh, maybe not.
All right, so he's going to start off with the
I
demon.
think you draw a card here anyway, because if you hit a Scryland or something like that, you want to play. Does he play? I'm pretty sure he plays a couple Scrylands there. 3. Yep,
Yeah, 3 Temple of Silence.
Again, I like doing this main phase. It's not the real popular thing to do, but I like to, just in case, you know?
I mean, if you're going to leaving a single black man up doesn't bluff anything. So your intentions are likely to be draw a card on the end of turn, and if you do draw a land, you want to actually play the land.
Yeah.
So I actually kind of like activating it too. The reverse thought is, 13 is higher than 12, so
yeah,
something of that nature. The sequencing here, not great by Collin. The only reason because if he draws something of relevance with the connections, maybe he doesn't want to cast a Desecration Demon.
Right.
So he wasn't working with perfect information. For the
and
turn.
that demon is actually going to do nothing for Collin at all. So besides, he just needs to survive here. Oh, he added mana. This is bad.
I mean, he could just be ticking it up to try to get to the ultimate too.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I wonder if he had 2 more guys in play and did that attack last turn. This game could have been real different.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah.
Because now I feel like Wells is kind of actually playing in to what Roundtree wants to do.
Yeah, sure. I'll play draw and go with you all day.
Especially when I have connections in play and you don't.
What's the ultimate? Is it -7 or 6?
I believe it is -7 on Xenagos.
Okay.
And it lets you
bring it
pull
up
a
on the
bunch of
screen
stuff.
here. Okay, it's -6. Okay.
All right, so we're at that point right now.
Yeah, it's an interesting card that I have not seen it really ultimate on camera, especially. I mean, pretty much it's just like a 0/0/0 use, and then when you need the mana, But the ultimate can do some stuff here. If we can get Xenagos on the screen at some point, we can show the world the dangers of the final ability here. And you need to exile 7 cards of your library, and then put any number of those creatures and/or lands onto the battlefield. So it kind of reminds you a little bit of the Garrick fun little ultimate that has, putting creatures in play from your deck. Not very used ultimates.
Immediately sacrifice the Satyr to the Desecration Demon so that he can protect his Xenagos. Roundtree going to play a land.
I wonder why he didn't sack the 0/3 there, the Carrion. Maybe he wants to keep that.
There's potentially he just wants as much mana as he can possibly have.
Yeah, he might have some big dreams.
And there's a Pack Rat after Roundtree does draw a card. So Wells is going to draw his card for the turn. He's been building to a Xenagos ultimate, so we'll see if he's going to cash it in. And he is. So.
Oh, he's reading it himself. I don't know how often he might have used this ultimate. It's definitely not the most potent one of all time.
So a bunch of cards coming off the top of the deck. 5, 6, and 7. We'll go over them for you guys. We got a Domri. We got a Scavenging Ooze. Hey, there's a Burning Tremissary and Nylea. There was a Temple of Abandon, a Forest, and an Arbor Colossus. So a lot of things are about to come into play.
Yep. Collin can't be happy about this.
I wouldn't be thrilled.
No, definitely. I mean, he was hoping to see 5 land in the top 7 there, but and/or Planeswalkers. So pretty much everything but Planeswalkers in this deck is going to be put into play off that. Okay, and he is now scrying from the triggered ability on his land here.
Yep.
Does not want it. All right, so this is going to be a heck of an attack next turn.
And this is kind of the problem with the mono black devotion deck too, is that when the opponent builds up a big board state, they can't get a ton of things off the board at once because again, this set doesn't have access to mutilate or a card like All is Dust or something that actually gets things off the table. As you see, Arbor Colossus is going to take care of the Desecration Demon, and that's one of the things that we had mutilate before M14.
Yeah.
But it obviously didn't come through with M14. So as a result, the black deck, it's still a control mid-range deck. It just doesn't have that mass removal element to it.
Exactly, yeah. There's no way to deal with a problem situation. Like, you just hope you can drain your way out of it. And, sometimes you don't have that kind of mana. I mean, Gray Merchant costs 5. That's not a cheap way to, get through this.
Yeah.
So it looks like he got through because he has the pumping ability from his newly added god to the board.
Yeah, Nylea is certainly going to work in this board state, and heaven forbid Wells ever draws on Nykthos. Things are really going to spiral out of control. Roundtree quickly going to draw his card. He's down to 5 life, and you can see that Grey Merchant can drain for 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 here. Nine's a pretty healthy drain. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but I think the damage coming back at him is going to be a gargantuan amount.
I think I'm inclined to agree with you. Now, I think Roundtree may have drawn Nykthos for the turn, so I don't know how much he can unload here. Obviously, he needs to just make it another couple of turns. He might be able to actually steal this game with a third Gray Merchant. The second one's going to be pretty good, though.
Yeah. Second one will definitely put him in the game. He probably is going to need a removal spell to go with it. But if Tommy does it right and spreads the pumps through his different array of attackers next turn, I don't see Collin being able to survive that. Especially because Nylea gives them all trample, because none of those creatures really have trample inherently.
Mm-hmm.
So giving those trample makes it so blocks are not available on Collin's side. His Pack Rat's quite puny right now. So he's thinking...
Pack Rat not at its best in this matchup,
no,
unfortunately.
Definitely not.
Or fortunately, depending on who you're rooting for at home.
Yep. I think people still have nightmares and limited about Pack Rat. So not many pro Pack Rat people out there, I don't think.
I love Pack Rat.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, how about that?
Oh, all
right. What
right.
do you think about that?
You and your 3 friends that like Pack Rat can all draft all of them.
Yeah, we love it. We absolutely love it. You see Roundtree's going to draw a couple of cards here off the Underworld Connections. He's going to knock himself down to 3. Has not played land yet for the turn. Again, does have Nykthos in his hand. Nykthos can generate 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. So there is a Nykthos, a 1-of in the mono black deck. He's going to activate that. He's got 7 black mana in his pool.
Okay, so 7 mana, and he can play, it looks like, let's see how many things he can get in play before he plays a Gray Merchant. Can't play too much, because he has only access to 9 mana total. So it's probably Demon here, and then Drain. Oh, straight to the
Start with
Drain.
Gray Merchant. So this Gray Merchant drain is going to be for 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Roundtree going to go up to 12.
Does
Wells
he have?
going to go down to 7.
He already played his land, yeah, so even if another Gray Merchant, he couldn't
Can't
cast
it.
He's not going to play it out of order, I hope. Like another black permanent, that would be bad. And
plays Erebos.
He is going to do that.
Yeah.
All right.
So he misses 1 drain, which could actually end up being crucial
That's
here.
big time there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Erebos is going to be live. It is going to be a 5/7 that can actually attack and block.
Yep.
But it looks like he does miss 1 drain there, and so little poor sequencing there from Collin. Going to pass the turn back.
All right, here's on the board. Something on there that control players need to make sure if you haven't played a lot of Standard is that little clause that says your opponents can't gain life is definitely very, very relevant when you are facing down Gray Merchants and you have Sinks of Revelation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you need to, a lot of times I'll spend whatever resource I have to deal with that over anything else in their deck.
An interesting situation here is that you take a look at the lands that Wells has. He's got it looks like 8 lands out there. That means 2 Nylea activations, but there is no Nykthos out there as a Domri Raid is going to come into play. And looks like it can fight something, probably get one of these Gray Merchants off the board, but he's going to get 2 activations, and I don't know if Roundtree can actually survive here with the attack from everything coming.
I don't think so. I think just how big the Arbor Colossus is by itself, it's already a 9/9. Yeah, there's no way he's going to survive this attack.
And I think if you're Wells, you take every creature that you can and you just turn it sideways.
Yes. Besides, he could hold back. Nope, he should send them all because he can only activate the land, or he can only activate Nylea once.
Mm-hmm.
So you should send in the Voyaging Satyr as well.
So there's a couple that Scavenging Ooze that was off screen that can
can
come on in there
that can
too.
Be more, yeah. So Scavenging Ooze, if there are 3 creatures in all graveyards, and it's fine not to do that one as well.
Yeah. You see a couple blocks are going to take place here.
And Collin kind of sort of throws his cards there. He knows just a ton of damage is coming.
Yeah, I think what he's hoping for is just that that Will somehow makes a mistake here with the pumps or what have you.
Yep.
Again, Arbor Class is sitting at a 9-9, so 9 minus 7 is 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, if he does pump that, now that's interesting because he pumps Nylea, but Nylea doesn't have trample.
Oh.
Everything else gets trample.
Oh.
So I don't know if that would have been a lethal attack or not.
Oh.
I think he may have been short
so
a couple points of damage.
Nylea reads all other creatures you control?
Correct. Now, Nylea is the only one who doesn't get trample. And it works that way with all, the other guy too, Heliod. Other creatures get vigilance, not Heliod.
Oh.
So, wish we could go back in time even there and see exactly how much damage is coming across because you're only going to get one pump.
Yeah.
That's 2 extra damage. I think Roundtree may have ended that game around 1 or 2 life, and maybe, if he peels a Great Merchant actually is able to steal it. But we'll never know as Green Red Devotion is up a game over Mono Black Devotion. We'll go with Roundtree's sideboard first, and I know you have that in front of you.
Yeah, so we look like pretty similar to the other lists we've seen from BBD and others that have done well with the deck. You have a second copy of Whip of Erebos. Obviously a very, very good card against decks that kill your stuff often. We don't have that in this matchup really, but it's tough to gauge because lifelink is so relevant in all these creatures that you have, especially when you're combating a ton of green guys on the other side. He's got 4 copies of Freakus Cure. Not so good against his deck. You can't really kill anything. You can kill a Voyaging Satyr, Burning Tremissaries, nothing real important. Doesn't look like he has much. He has 1 Pithing Needle I would bring in, and then probably Ratchet Bomb as well. Seems pretty good against this deck. So
Take a look at Wells' sideboard here. 2 copies of Electrickery, 2 Mistcutter Hydra, 3 Mizium Mortars, a Fade into Antiquity, 2 copies of Nalea's Disciple, 2 Burning Earth, 2 Challenger Pyromancer, and a Sylvan Primordial. Taking a look here, just looking at cards that would potentially be good against a Mono Black Devotion deck, which is obviously very popular in our standard format, nothing really stands out as a great card in this matchup. I mean, Fade and Antiquity could take care of Underworld Connections. It can also take care of the gods since it does exile. But, not really that necessarily take care of Erebos. I wouldn't be surprised if Roundtree sideboards that out. And Underworld Connections is not that great in this particular matchup, as we just saw. Roundtree drew 2 of them and still lost. Disciple is more for your red decks. Burning Earth, obviously, for your Esper and blue-white-red control decks. Electrickery for your aggressive decks. Mistcutter Hydra for your blue decks.
Yep.
Mizium Mortars, not a lot of targets here. So, maybe he brings in Challenger Pyromancer, but he's already got 9 Planeswalkers. I don't know if he needs 2 more. And then Sylvan Primordial is perfectly fine, especially because you can get to it a little bit earlier and ahead of schedule and do to Nykthos. But I think that's the only card I would really want to board in this matchup.
Yeah, I agree completely. So we'll see what happens here. I think that, I think the Green-Red Devotion deck's favored, and it kind of goes to that theory between what decks are good against other decks. And I think the mid-range deck has a real good shot at beating aggro decks and these Devotion decks because they just go big mana on you. Collin doesn't have a way to really interact with all their mana producers. I mean, you can get lucky with a Devour Flesh on turn 2 because half their mana producers have Hexproof. And then if you don't kill their early mana guys, they're just going to pretty much drop Haymaker after Haymaker after Haymaker on you. And if you're the mono black deck without any way to kind of clean the board up, you're not going to be able to deal with such a cluttered board like that. So we'll see. We'll see if he can get Underworld Connections going. Like you said, it wasn't that great, but on the play, it's a little bit better. Because I think the only way the Black Devotion deck's going to come out of this victoriously is if you outcard them on this matchup. So we'll take a look soon.
All right, well, both players will be shuffling up. And if you guys are just joining us, Cedric Phillips, Shaheen Cerrone, Star City Games Open Series here in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Your tweets will go to @SCG Live, hashtag SCGDAL. We'll be checking them all weekend long as we do have Collin Roundtree with Mono Black Devotion playing against Tommy Wells, Green Red Devotion. Seen a lot of Devotion decks here this weekend. Not much of a surprise there, honestly. But we've also seen a lot of aggressive strategies here to kind of prey on the Devotion decks that really don't line up very well against Mono Red or Tom Ross's Sly deck and even the Boros deck that Ben Lundquist won Los Angeles with last weekend.
Yeah. And here we go for game 2 here. And we'll see if Devotion, again, can out-Devotion the other one.
Yeah.
And it's fun to see these mirror Devotions. It's fun to see, like, every color being played, pretty much.
Poor Heliod.
Yeah, Heliod. Even if we saw a little Heliod.
It stinks.
It's bad, yeah.
It stinks.
Yeah, he's not very good. There are a little bit of murmuring about him being a good control staple. It's just way worse than, like, Assemble a Legion or things that you don't have to pay 4 mana to get a little token for. So. A little overcosted, but you can't have them all good, I guess, right? Can't have all of them.
That means the Heliod's going to like destroy the block constructed Pro Tour or something.
Yeah.
I'll just be very wrong. This Roundtree is going to take at least one mulligan here. We'll see if he goes any deeper than 6 cards.
Yeah, we say this now. Next week, Heliod wins. We'll see.
Yeah, wins the Open in Providence for sure. Maybe in Virginia Beach where you'll be.
Yeah.
You're going to Virginia Beach for the Classic next weekend.
I will be there.
What are you playing?
I'm going to be playing blue, white, red control. Definitely, I guess a meta game where I could play Esper and do pretty well. But I can't let all those people down who have been with me the whole time trying to get blue, white, red polished and ready to go. So for those who are going to be in Virginia Beach, if you want to meet up and talk and see if we can improve the control decks, sit down and have a little powwow about it. If you have any suggestions for me, you can tweet at me at @ShaheenMTG for changes that you've made. I've talked to a few people here in Dallas who are playing blue, white, red that have added and subtracted a few different things. And I think the beauty of control, especially nowadays, is that you can play it and you can change a card here and there and it'll still be just as effective. You can fine-tune it for your metagame. You can even change it completely around. Like we said, if you need to cut a whole bunch of anti-control cards for a bunch of anti-aggro cards because you're just positive it'll be flooded with that, it's completely acceptable. And you're still drawing a lot of cards. You're still Wrath of Godding, Supreme Verdicting. You're still playing Eighth Lane at the end of the day. So you can't do anything too wrong, So
right,
here we go.
Looks like Roundtree is happy enough. He's going to start with a Temple of Silence. Get a scry on. Keep the top card. And we are underway here in game number 2. And that's Tommy Wells just going to play a forest and pass the turn back. So Roundtree going to draw that card that he kept on top. You see he's got a Doomblade in his hand. Also has a Freakish Cure. I think the key for this matchup for Roundtree is just to keep those mana accelerants off the board.
Yeah, and again, it's tough. Hexproof. I mean, who would have thought,
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Sylvan Carriage is very, very good.
Scavenging Ooze is going to show up to the party, and Freakish Cure is going to take care of that.
I didn't think he was going to board that in. There's very few cards Freakish Cure can hit. He can hit a Voyaging Satyr.
You can take care of a Burning Tree Emissary, a Voyaging Satyr, and an Elvish Mystic. So I think enough targets. If your plan is to actually keep him off of mana acceleration and try to make him play a fair game with his 23 land deck, then I suppose, this is a plan that can actually end up working out.
Yeah. As long as you keep all 4 Underworld connections in, I like that strategy. And it looks like he has one in his hand because if you're going to be one-for-one-ing the mana dorks and hoping to get him off the mana, you're going to have to be able to keep up with cards. And it looks like he plays a Nightveil Spectre, but he does have an Underworld connections in his hand. So he did not board a lot of them out, we think.
So Roundtree is going to get the 2-3 established, going to start attacking Wells, is what I would like to assume, as Wells does not have red mana yet, so no Dominant Raid going to come to the party yet.
Nope.
Again, a deck that does have 2 Mountains, 4 Temple of Mana, and 2 Mountains, 4 Temple of Mana, and 4 Stomping Grounds. And then Sylvan Carriage also doing some work on the red mana. Here's an Elvish Mystic and a Scavenging who's going to pass the turn back. Will Wells to Roundtree.
I think he's holding a Thoughtseize in his hands.
He is.
Yeah, so I think you attack with Nightveil Spectre first, see what you get. Obviously, you can't cast much. Probably a land is what you want to see. And it's a Burning Tree Emissary. That will not be cast for a long time on Collin's side.
Not the best find for Collin, but actually a good takeaway because you might assume, as here's the Thoughtseize, so we'll figure out what's in Wells' hand, that he might have a red card in his hand.
I see a Garrick.
You see 2 Garricks, you see a Nykthos, and you also see a Dominant Raid.
So that red land would have been, or that Burning Tree Emissary would have been very, very good. But
actually, Emissary would have been great because he plays Nykthos, he plays Burning Tree Emissary, trigger, get the red-green mana. Nykthos is going to give him 4, and then he could actually have cast Garrick too. So if he would have drawn Burning Tree Emissary, he could have actually played Burning Tree Emissary, get the trigger, play the Nykthos, activate the Nykthos, gets 4 green mana, 1 more from the Mystic, 1 more from the Forest, and actually cast a Garrick that turn.
That would have been pretty wrecking for Collin.
Yeah, and Thoughtseize can't take away the land, obviously.
Another one of these new Planeswalkers, new-ish, that just has so much loyalty. These guys, as remember, these older Planeswalkers, the first Garrick's weak. They go down to 2 after you make a guy. A Johnny goes down when it pumped all your guys back in the day. Jace Bellerin. Obviously, all the loyalties were 2, after you use them. And now we're happy when it's only going to 4.
Yeah, that's a dream come true.
Yeah, like when someone plays Domri and pluses it, I'm like, all right, finally, I get Warrior Seals it, so I can kill it. But yeah, Domri's a lot less scary than it was in the last go around because these decks have a lot less creatures than the other ones did.
Thoughtseize is going to take care of one of those Garricks. Going to leave Wells with a Garrick, a a Nykthos and a Domri, and Wells does draw an Elvish Mystic for the turn, so he's almost to Planeswalker land here.
Yeah, I think Collin either A has a second Thoughtseize. I don't think he does, actually. I think he's just banking on getting one. He really needs to get that Garruk out of Tommy's hand, because we know how bad Garruk is for this deck.
Ooze is going to go to a 3/3 as it eats the Scavenging Ooze that was killed with Farika's Cure earlier in this game. So Wells is going to deal Roundtree 4 points of damage. Going to follow that up with an Elvish Mystic. Going to put that Nykthos out there. And we do know that Wells is just left with 2 Planeswalkers, Domri and Garruk, as Roundtree is going to untap his Nightveil Spectre and his lands. And we'll see where he starts his turn.
I think that's a Ratchet Bomb, and I assumed he's going to bring that in, and this is going to destroy Tommy's elf board here.
If he can get there.
If he can get there, yeah. But luckily, I think Tommy has the ability to play Garruk next turn. So Collin's going to need to, he's going to need to hit Thoughtseize here. Nykthos provides no mana currently, right? 2 and tap it.
That's correct.
So we need 1 more Devotion for a boost here. So Tommy's got a 1-turn window to draw a land to play Garruk here. Unless I think he has 3 lands to play. Does he have 4 lands?
He's got 4 lands.
He drew the Mystic. Okay, so Garruk is coming down.
And you see Roundtree a little frustrated here because he didn't find what he was looking for. So he says, all right, got to attack you with the Spectre to start. We'll see what I find off of this. And it is a Voyaging Satyr that I cannot cast. There's a Swamp.
Oh, he has Doomblade. Oh, he can stop it now. Do you Doomblade? I think you have to.
I almost feel like you have to because you can't beat Garruk.
Yeah, and
so
he does.
He's going to Doomblade the Mystic, going to play Ratchet Bomb and pass the turn back. So now he does need the land. You see Tommy kind of pound the table with saying, I hope I get there. So remove the Elvish Mystic to the Scavenging Ooze that was killed via the Doomblade.
Yep.
And is it a land? Is it a Temple of Abandon? It is a Burning Tree Emissary. That'll do it.
Yep. It gives him the net 1 that he needs. Now, do you play that, or do you play Domri and fight that Spectre and just keep bashing Collin's face in here?
That's actually a legit question.
That's tough because, I mean, Domri's not a bad card to have in play either.
Yeah, you're right about that.
And he's going to go with Domri.
He is going to go with Domri. Okay.
So he's going to bash fight here.
Yep.
And then he gets to eat that creature as well.
Wish he would have tapped the Nykthos so he could actually eat the creature with the forest.
Yeah.
A slight hiccup on the tapping.
Yeah. So he's not going to actually eat that. He's just going to attack. That's fine also. Just missing a point of damage here. Going to have to use that land later.
Ratchet Bomb going to tick on up to 1. Roundtree going to quickly untap, draw his card. I'm pretty sure he is cardless right now or close to it.
Yeah. Luckily, the Underworld Connections will fuel. Like mentioned earlier, you really need the Underworld Connections in this matchup because otherwise you're not going to beat Tommy's cards if you're not able to draw extra.
Yeah, your 1-for-1 plan gets invalidated pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Thanks to Domri and friends.
Yep.
Planeswalkers do a nice job of doing that. Here's a duress off of the top.
That's good.
That's a good start. Now, he is sitting at 10 life, so that's certainly a step in the right direction.
I would have drawn a card with Underworld Connections. Just always draw that card first. He's going to have to anyway. You're not going to be able to win this game off the top here. I think as long as it doesn't lead you to dead next turn, he's going to be attacking for 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? 3, 4.
I count 7, but there's also Scavenging Ooze that could eat something. Yeah, so we're looking at probably 8.
All right, so then you do pay this life and do it. And then you just put the bomb to 2.
Yeah, I think I agree with you where I think it's a situation where you do just have to draw a card, go down to 9, and maybe you find something like a Hero's Downfall or a Doomblade or what have you.
Yeah, Freakish Cure even. Anything.
So he's going to go down to 9, will Roundtree. Draw a card. It's a spell.
He's just ready to tap. He's like, ready to go.
What spell is it? It's a Pack Rat. So not the best spell because it's actually... Okay, so Domri can't fight that because it's at 1 as opposed to 2.
Still bad, too, because I think his plan is to get Respawn to 2, which would kill all the Pack Rats as well. So...
Domri, going to tick on up. Take a look at the top card of the deck. What do we find? It is a Sylvan Caryatid. Actually, not that great of a draw there from Tommy because, of course, Ratchet Bomb looks like it wants to go to 2.
I think Pack Rat will be chump blocking a Scavenging Ooze this turn.
I think I agree with you.
Yeah, and the only way I wouldn't do that is somehow... Nah, I'll definitely do that.
Yeah, I would. I think I'm with you. I would be blocking here if I could.
I mean, if he sends an Elvish Mystic and everyone else, then it might be tempting to kind of try to kill Domri, but you don't have kind of resource for that. Your life is way too low for that.
Yeah, I mean, the question is if Wells were to send in every creature this turn, is a Burning Tree Emissary, he might actually... Is he going to cast that Sylvan Caryatid too?
Oh, man, this is... Yeah.
So here's a bunch of mana.
A bunch of mana don't really do much here.
And we know his last card is Sylvan Caryatid.
Yeah.
So there's that. So wow, he's going to cast all these things in the face of Ratchet Bomb.
That's interesting because it's obvious that Collin will be popping that bomb for 2 before he did any of that.
Yeah.
Because you can't beat that ooze.
So my question here was, okay, let's say he attacks with the ooze, the elf, and the emissary.
Okay.
Well, what do you block with the pack rat?
I think you block the ooze.
Just want to keep your life total high?
Yeah, because you're going to be popping that. But I understand there's some merit to blocking the elf, but I think absorbing 5 damage is more important than getting rid of that elf currently.
He disagrees. He's going to trade with the elf.
Because you have Underworld Connection, so you can get yourself back in this game. The only thing that will prevent that is just the life you're at.
Yep.
But I mean, it's not a horrible play. It's just different.
So Bomb's going to go up to 2. Bomb is going to be a little 4-for-1 action. So it's going to be Bomb versus Domri. Excuse me. It's going to be Domri versus like Underworld Connections. So 2 card drawing engines out here. Bomb is going to go boom. I think you got to do it right now.
Yeah.
There's a Nightfield Spectre off the top.
Again, I would draw a card first on Underworld Connections.
Ooh,
to
he's
see
going to pass back? What are we waiting for with this Ratchet Bomb? I don't like this.
No, it's I guess he's going to do it in combat here.
I guess maybe his thought process is he leaves it in play because maybe Domri tries to fight the Spectre and blow up everything. Yeah. Maybe you could induce a mistake.
See, he would be in so much better shape if he had an elf in play and then was at 6 life.
Sure.
Yeah, I think this is where he's going to really feel the burn now. If he would have done that, then I would give the advantage to Collin to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, now it's much more even than it looks.
So Bomb's going to blow up. Scavenging Ooze is going to eat some things, push Wells up to 21 life, and he's going to lose his entire board except for that Planeswalker that's sitting at 3, not 2, just so that you guys do know at home. So Nightfield Spectre's not going to be able to get it dead
yet.
He
doesn't draw a card. I would go to 1 there.
I like the boldness.
Yeah, I mean, your 1 is the same as 2.
Fortune favors the bold.
Yeah, it does. And I heard last time I checked, 1 is not 0, so you're good. You can still keep playing your Magic the Gathering after that. All right, so let's see. He's going to get a 1 now. Now, if he draws like a Gray Merch, he's going to be upset at himself if he doesn't have that 5th land. All right.
Get in there.
Attacking, I'm sure. I would attack Domri.
I want to get the Planeswalker out
because,
of here.
First of all, he looked at that top card, so you know it's garbage.
Yep.
You want him to draw that card.
Now, there's a Pack Rat and passing the turn back. Now, had he drawn a card with connections prior, he could actually play Pack Rat and activate it.
Yeah,
so this could be a difference. Now, there's red mana off the top there for Wells, a Temple of Abandon. Going to put his top card to the bottom. He would have, playing a Scryland with Domri, obviously great.
Yeah.
That you're going to be a guaranteed hit. Take a look here. What do we find? It's a brick.
Ooh. Again, I would. I think I sent Nightfield Spectre at Domri again because I want him to draw the brick.
Same.
I want to draw that bad card. Yeah.
I mean, I say a brick, but there's a chance that it's a Planeswalker. Obviously.
Yeah, but I'll take my chances. Much more likely it's a land. But yeah, like you said, it could be a Planeswalker, but probably not.
And you also have to tread pretty carefully here too, that you don't make an error because it's very simple for. Ooh, what's this?
He's attacking him. So
okay, no, he's attacking him with the Spectre, and then Pack Rat's going to go after the Domri. He's going to discard a Thoughtseize, which he can't cast anyway because he's at 1. And this is good because he's going to have an untapped blocker in the face of Xenagos making a Satyr token.
Right. I don't like getting rid of that top card. I think you have a safe card there.
Okay, I see what you're saying there.
I mean, it could be a Planeswalker, but even if it is, it's not that bad, and this is a land.
Ground.
So him drawing that land is more important than anything else you can do that turn because it gives you a whole other turn to untap and use your spells.
Agreed.
So Tommy could draw his way out of this. If he draws like a creature here or any spell, it could have been prevented by making him draw that Stomping Ground.
Yeah, you had him on 1 blank draw step. There's a Stomping Ground there from Wells. Pass the turn back. Roundtree's going to quickly untap his board. And so now Roundtree's in the favorable position that every draw step is either another creature or relevant spell.
Yep.
So that's exactly the spot he wants to be in. He's going to quickly get into the red zone here. Looks like we're going to see a Pack Rat activation. Discard a Swamp. Has an untapped blocker for Xenagos.
Right.
And now you're going to get a trigger off a Nightfield Spectre. An attack here for 3, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, I don't like I guess he's left the Ratchet Bomb on 0 for Xenagos tokens, but I think he should have ticked that up as well. But it's not
Top
a huge
card
deal.
is a Burning Tree Emissary, which he cannot cast. So he passes the turn back. Wells draws his card. It's a Sylvan Caryatid. Not going to do much.
I think it would have also held the Ratchet Bomb to make another Pack Rat as well. Because you could have had another one here too. At this point, we're at I'm going to make Pack Rats unless it says gain life on it.
And it looks like it's going to be a lethal attack anyway, right? Because some character gets in front of one of these rats, you activate the Pack Rat, you're going to get in for 4, 8, 12, 13, 14 points of damage.
It's lethal. Here come the boys.
Yeah, here comes Pack Rat and friends. Sylvan Nightfell Spectre hanging out on defense.
He's still going to win, but it's definitely not sending it all just in case.
Yeah, all right.
Yep.
So we're going to go to the third and final one between Roundtree and Wells. You see plenty of people looking on, curious with the action here between Green Red Devotion and Mono Black Devotion here in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas.
I see Collin is also sporting a blazer, being fancy like us.
That's right. Where's
Real
Idols?
classy.
Where's
Yeah,
Idols?
it could be, yeah, definitely. We'll after the match, we'll go down and there's no real cards for me to like sign, so I would never cast any of those cards. So we'll leave it to you to sign Pack Rat because you're part of the Pack Rat fan club. So,
yeah, I actually started it.
Yeah, you
started the movement. Yeah.
You're the president, CEO, and #1 fan.
Well, look, here's the deal. I wasn't a big fan of Pack Rat, and then at Pro Tour Return to Ravnica in Seattle, Craig Wesco passed one to me in Pack 2.
Oh, wow. That's like lottery.
In Pack 2.
Pack 2.
Yeah. Or I could just end that sentence with, he passed one to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was really nice.
Yeah.
That was really nice of him.
Did you thank him for that? Or?
I didn't do anything, but I don't know why he did that. I don't know. Maybe he wanted me to do well at the Pro Tour or something. Just going around passing Pack Rats.
Yeah. I mean, that's a bold strategy, too.
Yeah.
That's like Wafo choosing to go second. It's just, I think it's charity.
I don't know if it's that.
It's just charity. he's a giving man. These are both giving men.
Fair. Like I said, fortune favors the bold.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I don't think I'd ever passed Pack Rat ever. I was past Olivia Volderin once, and that was fun.
That's a different situation. That's a black and a red card.
Black and a red card.
Pack Rat is it goes in every single deck card.
Yeah. It's actually one of when we used to host draft opens. Those were awesome, and I got past that, and it was Pack 1, and I was very confused.
Yeah. I would be confused too.
Yeah.
I was at that Pro Tour. I was forcing Rakdos in draft. This was the thing I was most comfortable with. And after Pack 1, I hadn't seen a ton of black and red cards. Seen a few in the first picks, but it felt like someone was kind of fighting me on it.
Yeah.
And so Pack 2, I picked up some cards for Izzet, and at the back end of Pack 1, I picked up some cards for Izzet and was looking to abandon ship. Even though I didn't like drafting Izzet very much, if the black-red cards aren't there, they're not there.
Yeah.
And then I was greeted with an Augur Spree as the card that I opened, so I said, okay, I can splash that in a deck. Okay, I'll take that one. It's a great removal spell. And then I got a Pack Rat. I said, you know what? I'm going to stay.
Yeah, I'm going to stay.
I'm going to stay in Rakdos.
It's like blackjack. You have like a 4 or 5. You're like, I'll stay.
Yeah, I'm going to stay in Rakdos now.
They're like, you just know the dealer's going to bust there.
Yeah.
Stay.
So that was a fun second draft of that program.
Yeah, speaking of those who are just joining us, Shaheen Sarani, Cedric Phillips here from Star City Games here in Dallas, Texas. And speaking of limited fun, remember the time we battled at the Grand Prix and I went in for the top 8 pretty much.
I couldn't draw the next round.
Yeah, I could. It was almost a win.
Yeah.
It was a tiebreaker, kind of messed it up a little bit. I boarded in 3 Downpour. If you guys don't know Downpour, I don't know if we can get that on the screen or not. It's a very good limited card. It's
one of the better limited cards.
One of the better limited cards.
Yeah.
M13 Downpour. Sometimes you draft a deck and you have 18 playables, and that time for me.
How many?
About 18.
18.
Here's Downpour
there
for you.
It is.
And I was like,
hard to believe this is a common.
Yeah, hard to believe. Yeah, it's definitely. I had 3 of them.
Yeah.
It's pretty fortunate of me. So I won game 1 against you. I forgot how. I was pretty lucky. And then game 2, I'm like, you know what? I need a little help, so I brought 3 of these in, and
almost got me.
Almost
with the old Downpour. I would have. I don't know if I would have ever played another game of Magic if I would have lost to a man casting Downpour. I'm not gonna lie.
Downpour after Downpour.
That would have been it for my career.
I'm glad I lost then, because we need to keep you around.
Yeah, you kept it going. Just a little bit longer, at least.
God.
As we are going to be underway here in game number 3. For us to start, no Elvish Mystic Duress here for Roundtree.
What do you think about the rest of this matchup? You have about maybe 8 targets.
You're looking at 9 Planeswalkers, and potentially the cards that he sideboards in are spells. So I don't hate it in this matchup. The problem is that it doesn't take the... I guess I don't want to say it doesn't take the important cards, but there's I think like a time and a place to cast Duress, and I'm not convinced that it's on the first turn.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah, it's easily turn 3-ish, especially if you're on the play, so you can stop Domri. But Black does have a hard time dealing with Planeswalkers, but that's what your Thought Seizes are for. You can Thought Seize the spells, and then you can deal with the creatures with your removal spells. You gotta, split up there. Because look, if you look at Collin's hand, he has a Pithing Needle in there. I mean, how much hate do you want to bring in for the Planeswalkers? It's just a little much, I think.
You saw the hand with the duress as Nykthos is going to come into play, and then Sylvan Caryatid as well. He's also got a Voyaging Satyr, a Pelucranos, and a Scavenging Ooze hiding out in the hand does Wells.
Yeah. So with the Pithing Needle, do you play this preemptively? And do you name, like, I mean, what would you name? Like,
yeah, I mean, that's the tough part, right?
Yeah.
What card are you supposed to name with the Pithing Needle in this matchup?
Yeah, there's no, I mean, it's obviously you want to hit Planeswalkers, and that's kind of like why if he had Thoughtseize turn 1, he could Thoughtseize and take a creature, and then you can play the Pithing Needle, name the Planeswalker you saw, and then you can kind of 1-2 punch him. But with Duress, especially on turn 1, you're pretty much like just, hopefully this hits something.
Yeah, the tough part here for Wells is that Wells doesn't really have very much land, so he's going to play another Sylvan Caryatid. He drew an Nylea for the turn. He passes the turn back. So again, he does have Voyaging Satyr. He does have a Scavenging Ooze and a Pelucranos.
Collin reads Pithing Needle, see if he can name creatures, and he can, but it will. The difference between Pithing Needle and Phyrexian Revoker, there's a slight difference there. I think Phyrexian Revoker says you can't name land. Pithing Needle says it doesn't stop mana abilities. So you can name the Sylvan Caryatid, but it wouldn't do anything because it's a mana ability with Pithing Needle. So that's why he's kind of reading it to make sure it does something. I think Collin's out of land too.
I think you might be right about that.
Oh, God. This is going to be a... Oh, yeah, you're definitely rather be on the green side because you got dudes that make mana for you. Collin's got nothing.
Oh, no,
he does.
I wasn't sure if he had a land either, but he does have Mutable. He's going to play Connections and pass the turn back. So Wells is going to draw his card.
He's teasing us.
He draws a Forest for the turn. So now he's on line, basically. He can pretty much do anything he needs to. He does have the red mana through the Caryatids, and he does have a third land, and he's already drawn the best land in his deck in Nykthos. So going to start with some mana. There is a Nylea, God of the Hunt, and he's going to lead off with that as opposed to Pelucranos, because when he does play Pelucranos, the next turn, he can actually attack with a 6/6.
Yeah, pretty good deal.
Yeah.
So Collin, now he doesn't have another land, so he's got to find one.
I would start by activating our World Connections.
Definitely need to hit mana here. This is where we're going to see, again, Devotion. This is why I kind of like the green-red Devotion a little bit better than the blue one, because the creatures aren't that bad. You know, you're not playing any junky creatures. You're playing a couple Utopia trees, and, you know, got a sweet God in the back end of that.
There is a Thoughtseize. He's going to take care of Pelucranos, leaving Wells with a Scavenging Ooze and a Voyaging Satyr. You do a Devotion count. That'll bring Devotion up to 5. So Nylea will be able to attack next turn, assuming that that Roundtree, assuming that Wells wants that to happen. Pithing Needle going to show up here, naming Nylea, but again, not the best name with Pithing Needle.
No, I think that probably is maybe not saying Collin's play was bad, but that's probably the worst Pithing Needle I've ever seen. Like in play, that is. You know, doesn't really stop anything. This creature still can trample. The pump is irrelevant because he's got a fistful of he's got 2 more creatures to come out anyway, so it only stops maybe 2 damage in 2 turns from now. You know.
So here is the Scavenging Ooze. Follow up that with the Voyaging Satyr. Ooze can go active too. Eat that Pelucranos if he wants to. You saw Wells drew a Stomping Ground for the turn, so he's got plenty of mana.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to draw any more lands for the game because he's got Nykthos out there anyway. And so Nylea, you know, you didn't needle it, but it can come across for 6 points of damage, and that's exactly what it's going to do.
Yeah.
Stomping Ground comes into play tapped, and we're over to Roundtree.
I would eat the creature main phase because he saw Freakus Cure last game, and you don't want to. I mean, that could just be disastrous because it would ungod his creature there.
So let's see what Roundtree has. Roundtree has a Doomblade.
You should maybe eat in response, gain a life. I don't know if it would do that because you might want to save it for your future.
Yeah, that's what I was
oozes.
thinking.
Yeah, and because I don't think 20 and 21 is not too big of a difference there. All right, so I mean, Collin's in pretty good shape. The Needle actually is going to come in handy because there's the Cure.
All right, so there's the Cure taking care of the Satyr, and we saw the Doomblade take care of the Ooze. So right now, Nylea actually doesn't really have any text.
No, not yet. But we know that's very, very short-lived. A Burning Emissary can activate it. A Garrick. There's lots of draws that are just absurd here.
Pelucranos. There are, as you mentioned, a lot of really good draws. Stomping Ground, not one of them.
Nope.
So Roundtree fades that draw step.
And we see it again. We have 2 Underworld Connections here. We're going to see Collin bury Tommy under card advantage and be able to handle. He can just keep drawing, you know, Devour Fleshes and other things to continue to win the card advantage race.
Yeah.
He has a Nightveil Spectre, but I think you want to draw a card here for a few reasons. 1, you want land. That's how you're going to win. And 2, if you don't draw a land, you still are holding, like, you know, a lot of action. You'll be fine. And he will draw a card.
So Roundtree going to go down to 12. And I'm with you. He definitely does want lands. He wants as many lands as he can get his hands on right now. To just keep powering through this. He's going to pass the turn back, leave up Hero's Downfall. There is a Burning Tree Emissary, as you did mention, so that shows up. Trigger. Nothing to do with it, obviously. No cards in hand, and you're going to want to kill that Emissary. Get it out of here. He's going to use Hero's Downfall. Get that thing out of here.
And Hero's Downfall is actually pretty good in this matchup because of just the size of some of these creatures. And it's just really good. It's just another Doomblade. So I see another Thoughtseize. That's a dead draw. Tommy is obviously playing off the top. But in this, pretty soon, when this other Underworld Connections comes down and he's just drawing cards, it's going to be tough. Collin's pretty much a Gray Merchant away from being safe here.
Drew a land. There's a swamp. Gonna put a Nightveil Spectre into play, and he's really valuing Nightveil Spectre over Underworld Connections.
I don't mind that. As long as he's building the devotion count, he's just setting up for the eventual drain coming. And here it is. Again, a card that was... A lot of these cards in these black decks, like this and Desecration Demon, pretty much had no value. And then, obviously, with new cards comes new opportunities.
Here's a Faded Antiquity. Going to take care of the Underworld Connections, lower the devotion count a little bit. Luckily for Roundtree, he does have a backup Connections in the grip. You see a Farika's Cure and a Thoughtseize over there as well.
Yep.
Draws a Temple of Silence for the turn.
Yeah, Tommy is pretty much about as bad as you can get for him.
Yeah.
He just has a couple defenders out.
Elvish Mystic goes to the wayside.
He's going to play another, it looks like Underworld Connections here.
Start with the Scry.
Yeah,
put the card on the bottom.
Definitely Scry first is good. And just continue the card advantage race to the top here.
I think you do want to tap Mutavault to actually cast this, just so that you can have Farika's Cure available.
Just in case, yeah, you play Xenagos, you can be able to interact with that creature. Yep, and he will.
All right, so there is your Connections on the swamp. Pass the turn back. Wells going to untap quickly and draw a card. You see 4 minutes left on the clock here, and Wells just passes the turn back. So bad draw steps. Roundtree says, I'll take a card, however. Go down to 10 to do so.
All right, and tough situation. Collin pretty much his biggest enemy right now is the clock. He needs to really pick up the pace here because Tommy is at 19.
Luckily for him, he's drawn his first Gray Merchant of the game. So in comes Nightveil Spectre.
Oh, that's going to be huge.
Gonna put Wells down to 17. Trigger, what do we find? It's a forest. So now we can catch the Elvish Mystic and future green cards.
Yep.
And he's checking to make sure, have I played a land yet? The answer is no. So forest going to come into play. I'll take myself an Elvish Mystic. Thank you very much.
Yep. Definitely caught me off guard here. The playability of Nightveil Spectre. Very good card.
And now there is a Gray Merchant that's going to come into play.
2, 5, 7.
Big drain. Big drain of 7. Does leave Underworld Connections up to be able to draw a card, and Roundtree getting some life back here. You see the power of Gray Merchant.
Yeah.
No denying that.
No, definitely another limited superstar card. Another card that's a big stinker by itself. But in conjunction with all these cards, it does work.
See, Wells draws another card for the turn. Just has not been able to find a Planeswalker or do anything. Has not been able to cobble together Devotion after these opening turns in the game. Plays a Forest for the turn. 6 mana. Is this going to be a Garruk? It is.
That activates the God here.
It does. Top 5 cards. We got a Nykthos. We've got an Elvish Mystic, a second Nykthos, a Temple of Abandon, and a Polukranos. So 2 for 5 is not bad.
Yep. Get rid of all those lands. Put them on the bottom.
And Nylea being active is a pretty big deal too, but still in some trouble here.
Yeah, definitely in trouble still. I don't know if Collin has another drain, another Gray Merchant.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
If he does, then this game is over. This second one will be much bigger. He can easily play one more Devotion card and have an easy above 10 drain.
Nylea coming into the red zone, and if I'm Roundtree here,
I just take this.
I think I just take this hit too. I go down to 11.
I mean,
start by draw. I like starting by drawing a card.
Right, yeah, I mean, he could block with Elvish Mystic. It's probably not going to be very impactful this game, but definitely don't block with Gray Merchant unless you have a whip in your hand. Because the whip would be it if he does have that.
Yeah, the whip makes it acceptable. Otherwise, I'm with you. You want to leave all the Devotion cards on the table for as long as you can, so your future Gray Merchants are awesome.
Yep. This is true. And let's, I guess we're going to have to wait and see. His hand's pretty, flicking it really quick. I can't really see.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to take that damage, so he's going to go down to 10. So 10-10 is, in theory, an even score.
Yes, yes. However, one player has pretty pretty good amount of ammunition.
We're seeing him tapping 5 mana very quickly, and this is Gary, the insurance salesman, for 3, 4, 5, 6,
lethal
7,
damage
8, 9.
with the Night Veil Spectre.
Yep. Says I'm going to put you down to 1, and how about we make it none? Collin Roundtree does defeat Tommy Wells 2-1. Mono Black Devotion moving on to 4-1, defeats Green Red Devotion.
Yeah, we can make a Wish Foundation all we want and make somebody hit the limelight, get on camera.